Hi, I'm Suzanne. Welcome to my world. I'm very casual today. It's just that kind of day. It's cold and I just have to be comfy today. So I know I don't look the greatest, but that's okay. I just want to have fun with you guys. And today we're going to create in the kitchen. I'm going to show you a very simple way to make French bread. So what you will need, the only things that you need is very warm water. You need bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, you can try to do it with all-purpose flour. But generally, the recipe does call for bread flour. And you need a little salt and a little active dry yeast. So let's get started. When I first start, you need 1 1/3 cups of warm water. You need to put in this type of measuring cup. I know a lot of you probably know, but for those of you that maybe don't bake or don't cook a lot, you need to use, these are liquid measuring cups. So 1 1/3 cups. Let me see if I can move the camera so you can see. I'm not great at the camera thing. I'm really not. So let's see. Okay. There you go. So you can kind of, there you go. Maybe you can see now. So then I just take the dry yeast. You don't put a whole package in. So I'm going to cut it open. I'm going to show you. And it takes 1 1/2 teaspoons. Let's see, I guess it's a little better. I'll do it over the sink. So, and you want very, very warm water, especially because usually your measuring cup is not really warm. So you want it very warm, not too hot though, but like very warm, like really nice warm bath water. Okay, and then 1 1/2 teaspoons of yeast goes in there. You don't use the whole package, just 1 1/2 teaspoons. Stir it up a little bit. I like these little tiny spatulas. And then you're gonna just set that aside. Put my scissors back. And let's see. And then next, what we do, let me move my camera this way. Let's see, I think if I raise it, maybe you can see there. Oh, maybe not. Not good at the camera thing. So here, well, there we go. So you can see it takes 3 cups of flour. I only have 2 cups in there right now. Let me show you, because some people don't bake. I really need a camera person. But here we go. I'm going to show you. The one thing you don't do is you do not scoop your flour like this. That's not the way that you measure flour. So I already have 2 cups in there. It takes 3 cups. So what you want to do, I always have a knife in my flour because you're going to need a little like butter knife. And what you do is you scoop your flour just like that. You don't want to pack flour. You just want to kind of scoop it, let it fall. And then you want to flatten it off with the knife, okay? So let's go over here. You can kind of hopefully see. So you just pour it in. So there's 3 cups of flour in there. And then we will need, and you can use iodized salt. You can use whatever salt you want to, or whatever you have. I kind of like sea salt, but that's just kind of been my thing. But I used to always just use iodized salt. So then you want a teaspoon, like a level teaspoon Well, maybe I'll do a little, kind of didn't even off. Very good. About a teaspoon. Pour in your, and I do use electric mixer. It just works for me. If you don't have one, you probably can do it by hand or use another type mixer. If you use electric mixer, you do want to have the dough hook, which is this special hook. So now I'm going to turn this on and you just kind of mix it up. Okay, and as that's mixing, you take your yeast, and I always do the yeast and water first, so it has a few minutes to kind of set and kind of do its thing. So I'm going to pour this in. And sometimes my bread comes out better than other times. So we're just going to hope that this works really well this time. Because sometimes it comes out great. You just never know, you know? So we're going to hope. So now, put that aside. Gonna let this mix up a little bit. You don't want to overmix it, but you need it to mix together. Gonna lift it up and move my flour down a little bit. I don't always have to do that, but today I kind of do, I guess. And then you just let it mix up. See, and then once it's like together, okay, so it's mixed together. If you can, let's see, I guess you can't really see very well, but everything's kind of, let's see. Lift this off. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I hate this part. Very hard for me to do. Get this thing off here. Oh, gosh. Okay. So if you see, it's like mixed together fairly well. Now, we move this over here. See if you can see my board. Let's see. Just a little. See, can you see? Oh, the lighting's not very good, is it? It's because, let's see. I'm gonna move down here. Maybe you can see a little better down here on this side of the camera. There we go. I think that's better. Maybe it's the lighting. Like I say, I'm not a good the lighting's not great. There we go. Wow. Okay. Well, we're just gonna, yeah, I'm terrible at this, aren't I? But anyway, well, we're just gonna try. We're gonna do the best we can. So take your dough. Oh, and what I did, if you can see here, I took a little of the bread flour and I sprinkled it on my board. Now you take your dough and just put it on your board. And take a little flour kind of on your hands. Now it's very simple. You don't have to knead it a lot. Just in from the top, the side, flip it around. I should have put a little more flour on my board, but that's okay. It's gonna all work out. So just knead a little, take it in from the top down, the sides in. Just, it's very, very simple. It really doesn't take a lot. My hands are so gooey, aren't they? Okay, now I'm going to step over here and wash wash my hands because there's a little bit ooey gooey. So let me wash my hands, and pardon me, I will be right back. But the dough looks really good. So let me see here. Okay, now I'm going to show you what I do here. So now I have a bowl, a separate bowl like this. You grab my oil. I use a little olive oil. If you don't have olive oil, you probably could just use regular oil. I use olive oil. And what I do is I just put a little, you can see that in the bottom of the bowl, just a little. And then, my dough is so ooey gooey, but that's cool. So now it may not look great, but you just put it in here. Now, and my hands are ooey gooey again. Let me reach over here. Oh. Okay. So now I'm going to show you. I don't have like a bread proofer, I think is what it's called. I don't use all that, and I don't have one, and I don't want one because I have enough stuff on my counters. I don't want more stuff that I personally don't really feel I need, because I can do it this way. So let me show you what I do. It's kind of a little, I don't know what you want to call it. A little, I don't know, I'm at a loss for words, but this is what I do. So this is my microwave and my oven. So I take a clean dish towel and I put it in my microwave, okay? Then what I do is I turn my oven on. I hit this and I turn it to the very lowest setting, and I let it turn on. While that's on, I put my towel in here. Now I'm gonna microwave my towel. Yes, microwave my towel for 1.5 minutes, okay? So as you see, it's fairly simple, and I love this bread. I think it's delicious and it's simple. It doesn't take a lot of ingredients, and like I say, it's fairly simple. So as soon as my microwave goes off, I will show you what I do next. But yeah, it's delicious. And I love, there's nothing better than warm bread out of the oven. I don't know, it's delicious. It's almost as good as warm cookies out of the oven. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think there's anything better than warm cookies, but bread comes next. Bread is probably next after warm cookies. So, and I do this because it heats up the oven just a little bit, which you need a warm place for your dough to rise. And it heats up my towel. So, we're almost there. Lucky's always got to appear, even if it's just vocally. That was Lucky, in case you're wondering. I don't know what went by or what happened, but he had to make it. All right, Lucky, quiet. Okay, so my towel is done. Oh, and now turn your oven off. Clear off. Okay, now take my towel. I'm not good at the video thing, but I'm trying to become better. Then all you do, oh, I got stuff on here. Okay. You take your towel, some of my dough got on my towel, but that's all right. And then you place it in your oven. which will be just a little warm. Now, I'll set my timer for 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay, while that's rising, we have to do this twice. So while it's rising, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna clean this up a little bit, and then I will be back and show you what we do next. So I will see you in 19 minutes. Hi, I'm back. So it's been 20 minutes. My timer just went off. So I'm going to show you what to do next. If you notice, my board, I know the lighting is so terrible, but I love this kitchen tool. This is one of my favorites. I think it's actually for pastries. I've never ever used it for that because I've never done pastries. I'll have to try sometime. But anyway, I use this for a lot of different things. And when I did the bread, you know, the first time, there's always like little bits of dough or whatever. And I don't like to work with that. So I scrape all that off with this. I mean, you could clean it, but if you wash the board, well, if you have a wooden board, I guess, you know, then it's still kind of damp. And so I just choose to scrape off those bits. You don't have to, but that's what I've done. Now, let me show you. Take the dough out. Let's see what it looks like. See? And it's actually rising really nicely. So let's see. Oh, I thought I forgot to hit and pause. Oh my gosh, today's the day. All right, so if you could see, like it's starting to rise. So next, very, very simple. Scoop your dough out onto your lightly bread floured surface. And just in the top, in the side, in from the bottom, in from the side. Look, that's all you do. Look, that's it. Super simple, right? Throw it back in your bowl. Take your dish towel, cover it up, put it back in your oven. See how simple this is, you guys? Very simple. Put it in the oven for another 20 minutes. It just stays warm. And there you go. So I'm now going to get set up. So after this second rising, what you will need is you will need basically a cookie sheet, okay? And you're gonna want an egg. And let me show you two other things. Is you're gonna want cornmeal and parchment paper. You probably could use wax paper, I don't know, but I use parchment paper. So I am going to pause this video again, and when we come back, I will show you exactly how we finish the spread, and it's going to be delicious, you guys. Absolutely delicious. So I will see you back in a little over 18 and a half minutes. Okay, everyone, we are back after our second rise. Look at my dough, actually looks like it's going to be really good. It's nicely rised or risen. I don't know. whatever. It looks beautiful. So Now, again, I have my lightly floured bowl or board. So look, it just pops on out. Now again, do the same thing. Just knead it in from the top, in from this side, flip it around from the bottom and the side. Very simple, right? So kind of get it together. I know my lighting's not the best, and I'm really sorry about that, but let's see. Maybe you can see it a little better there. I just kind of have it like, kind of like just a loaf together. And again, I'm going to take my favorite tool that I use for everything. See, I'm going to hold it up like this. Maybe you can see a little better. And I just kind of eyeball it. And if you don't have one of these, it doesn't matter. Just break it apart. Whatever works for you. Oh, I don't think I did that. Oh, well, one might be a little bigger than the other. That's just how it goes. So then, God, I hate the lighting because I feel like you can't really see it very good. Oh, well. So then you take, oh, beforehand though, you want to take a piece of parchment paper and put on your pan. You want to take your cornmeal, whatever brand you have, it really doesn't matter. And let's see if I can show you here, if you can see both on here. Take a little cornmeal and just sprinkle it over your parchment paper. So you can kind of see, I don't know, 2 little whatever worth I sprinkled on there. And then divide your dough in half. Just kind of, I don't know, honestly, there's no science to it. I just kind of roll it up. You're supposed to kind of tuck the ends in, whatever. I just kind of make it into like a loaf shape, sort of. It's not, it doesn't have to be. And if you wanted to do, I have made these into like, you know, sandwich buns or hamburger buns. I would divide it into 6. If you want to use this for like hamburger buns or something, if you divide it in 4s, it's a little big, and just shape them. And I don't know why. Okay, let's see. But yeah, make it into 4 if you want. And then just, I don't know, it's not perfect. It doesn't need to be. It will be delicious. So I just kind of roll it up like that. Make it the best I can. And it does not have to be perfect. Like I say, it's gonna taste delicious. Let me put this over in the sink. And let me see if you can see kind of how I did. And then it's not perfect. So now let me show you what we do next. Next thing is, I usually just turn on my sink and get water. It doesn't matter if it's warm or whatever it is, just some water. I just thought it'd be easier for camera to put some in this measuring cup, but you just take and sprinkle some water over your bread. Sprinkle it on. That's it. Okay. Now, the next thing you're going to do is, it's called docking. And you're not really cutting the bread. You are going to dock it. So you're just going to kind of put lines in it. Let's see if I can bring this little closer, angle it down so you can kind of see better what I'm doing. You don't really cut the bread. I kind of have a funny story that maybe when I get this done, I'll tell. I don't know, I'm debating on whether to tell this story or not, but I might just go for it because when in doubt, just go for it, right? So you're gonna do like basically 3 lines so that you see I'm not really cutting the bread. You're just kind of, I guess it's kind of like, well, you'll see. And sometimes I do it good and it works out, and sometimes it doesn't, but that's okay too. So you see, I have like 3 lines. And like I say, you're not really cutting your bread. You're just kind of making a little indentation. Like this. So it's kind of so, I guess, I don't know, it helps the bread somehow. I don't know the technical stuff, but it helps the bread. So you do that. Now, next, what you do is you take an egg. I'm really close to my sink, thank goodness, because I want you to be able to see this. Let me use this over here. So what you're going to do is take a little bowl, cup, whatever. And if you don't want to do this part or you don't have an egg, then don't worry about it. But you take the egg, you want just the egg white. So what you're going to do is take the egg yolk. Just gonna put that in my sink for right now. I'll get it after. And just the egg white. Let me rinse my hands. Okay. And then what you do, now it does help if you have a brush. If you don't have a brush, you know, maybe use a spoon, because not everybody does. This is actually a craft brush I took out of my craft room, a new one, clean one. Don't worry, it wasn't for crafts. Not yet, but anyway, so just get some egg white on it. This makes your bread have a really pretty color, and you just, let's see, you can't really see, I guess. And you just kind of brush it on your bread a little. Let's see. And, oh, I messed up. I kind of messed up. The bread's good, don't worry. But what I messed up on is when I took it out of the oven the last time, what I needed to do, and to tell you guys what to do, is to then turn your oven to 400 degrees. You want to preheat your oven. So I don't know. I debate on whether to tell this story, but you know what? I'm just going to do it. You kind of maybe sort of had to be there maybe for it to be funny. And it wasn't really funny to me at the time, but it's funny now. So a little background information. Those of you that know my husband know that he's very much into cars, and he's retired now, but when he did work, and he still has his world-class certification. And for those that are into cars, know that that's a very huge, big accomplishment. And he does, and for that, he had to do a tremendous amount of classes. And he's a perfectionist, even not with cars. There's nothing I've ever found that he couldn't do. I don't care if it's in the house or what it is. And but in his doing his classes years ago, GM used to give you a ring. And if you ace the classes, you got diamonds for this ring. Yes, my man has a ring and he has diamonds, and GM still owes some diamonds, but he'll never get them probably at this point. But my point of the story is he's very much a perfectionist. And when he takes a class, he's he excels. Let me just say that. And yes, I'm his number one fan, but he really is, and he's a perfectionist. That being said, a few years back, he had been wanting us for a long time to take a cooking class. So we did. And I was teasing him before the class started. And I was like, oh, you're going to be the teacher's pet. Watch. And for those of you that know him or don't know him, he's very more shy. I'm the social one. He's a little more shy and reserved, sort of, not as much now, but when we first met, especially. But anyway, so I was teasing him like, oh, you're going to be the teacher's pet. So we're taking the class, and they were teaching how to do bread. And okay, I shouldn't say this word, but he wasn't just the teacher's pet. He became the teacher's bitch. Okay, I apologize if that's offensive to anyone, but he kind of did. If the mixer wasn't working, the oven wasn't working, it was like, hey, Bob, you're a technician. And he's all quiet. He's not trying to stand out in the group. He's trying to be all quiet and like reserved. And for my foodies out there, a shout out to Daniel, Janice, Clarissa, and Sheila. Those, they can attest, they were there. So anyway, I love you guys. So anyway, that being said, so he was the teacher's pet. And me, on the other hand, I was not. So like when he taught the bread, he's like, we had to divide in groups, and we did ours, but I don't know what happened. The teacher, I don't know if he thought we didn't add water to ours, but he had a bunch more water. So you have to picture this, and maybe it's not as funny to y'all, kind of, you had to be there, but I'm standing there. He makes me stand in front of the whole class, and he's making me do it. And now like our dough's too watery. So he's like, add more flour. And so I'm like adding flour, scooping it in, you know? And finally, and I mean, it's going on and it's going on and it's going on. And then he just takes a bag and dumps the flour, right? Like, I don't know. It was so weird. And then when it came to docking, he's got me again in front of the class. I was not his favorite, y'all. Bob was his favorite. I was his least favorite. And he's cool, but I was his least favorite, let me just tell you. And so he's like telling me to dock the bread. And so he's got me this big knife. I don't know. I guess I was cutting the bread sort of too much. I don't know. But it was, he's like, don't cut the bread. He like gets all irritated with me. And it's like, I'm not just trying to learn some stuff here. So it was kind of crazy, but we did learn a few things, I suppose. So anyway, it was kind of crazy. But maybe you kind of had to be there, but it was a little amusing. So I just thought I would share that with you. And I'm going to pause this video, and as soon as my oven gets to temperature, she'll be in a little bit because I'm only at 230 degrees. So again, you want your oven at 400 degrees. When your oven gets to 400 degrees, put your bread in the oven, and you want to cook it for 25 to 30 minutes. I think I usually cook mine like 25. You'll see, keep an eye on it and you'll see. But yes, so I will be back here with you guys after the bread cooks. So see you in a bit. Okay, let's see. I'm back. Look at my bread is done and out of the oven. It looks delicious. Oh, it's quite warm. Gonna move it to my cutting board to to cool. But yeah, it came out really well. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you try my recipe and see if it works for you. I'm going to have my email address on the bottom of this video. So if you enjoyed this, you tried it, if it worked for you, it didn't work for you, please either email me or post a comment. I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm gonna let this cool a little bit and then I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm actually going to try to make a video next of jambalaya to kind of go with it. I love warm bread and a good meal. And on Sundays, we try to kind of cook together. Usually Bob helps me. So, but today I'm cooking and yes, so stay tuned for my next video for jambalaya to go with this delicious warm bread. Have a great day.